Welcome back to another trade video. This edition, we will note dynasty trades for contenders and teams looking to retool for the future. We are heading here into the fantasy playoffs, so let's get right into it with trade recommendations. Let's start off with teams looking to retool here for the future. If you are not in the playoffs, you should look to trade for the contenders' first or second round picks. Teams in the playoffs, they should be wanting to make moves to help them win the championship, help them win now. In theory, their selections will land in the bottom of the rounds, so you should not be too concerned about this though. If you are able to trade away, that aging asset and acquire draft capital, this is a good thing. Let's look at recent trades involving, first or second round picks. Let's go ahead and start off with the second rounders, and maybe some swaps here. So someone traded a Ezekiel Elliott and a 2024 third, and they got a second back, a contender they want to win there with Zeke, and then they get a dart throw in the third, right? So this is a good move for the rebuilder, but hopefully that third round pick, it's not going to be too early. If you traded the 3.01 for the 2.12, like that, you moved up one spot. Going on some more trades here. Jake Browning. Now, this is a quarterback here, and a contender wants those quarterback points, in that super flex spot. I understand this trade. Maybe just get that dart throw in there back, kind of like that Zeke trade. Moving on here, another trade for a 2024 second was Isaiah Pacheco. Who knows if he's going to be the future of the Chiefs, but he is the right now. Contender gets that right now production. Retooler here, you get a nice second round pick. Furthermore, another running back, we have AJ Dillon. So similar to that Pacheco trade, contenders, they get the points right now. Rebuilders get a second round draft pick, which is great, albeit it could be the last pick, but I'm still shooting for those second round draft picks. If you are enjoying the video here, please drop a like and subscribe for more content. Let's go ahead and look at first round picks here for the retoolers, right? So someone traded for Austin Eckler, a contender they want to win, in a PPR league. They trade their first. Rebuilder gets off that aging running back. Good move here. Additionally, another running back here with Kyren Williams, an immediate plug-in player for this championship push. It is uncertain if he is the future over there for the Rams, but he is young enough for the chance. Rebuilder gets a first round. Good trade. Another one here, Russell Wilson, obviously here in a super flex lead, a contender gets a quarterback to push for the playoffs. Rebuilder gets off Wilson and secures a first rounder. I would like to see a little extra here in a super flex league, but you still got a first round pick. We can see the difference between, these first and second round picks, in value terms. This makes sense, as the volatile players, they're going to go for those second rounders, while players who are almost certain to play another year or two, they're going to go for that first. Trading for picks is risky, as you will need to hit on those picks. But, it is relatively easy to hit on these first and second round picks, at least compared to those dart throws. For reference, over the last couple of years, here are some players who were second round rookie picks. Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, and Sam Laporta from just this rookie 2023 class. And then like Rashad White and Brian Robinson from the 2022 class. There's going to be those misses, but, as we are learning and trying to find these draft picks, the second round pick is pretty good. And obviously, we need to keep in mind here, each class, they will have strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, this 2023 class, a little more stronger than the 2022 class. But looking at the 2024 class, it has lost some running back depths, returning to college there to play. But this class, it still has intriguing assets assumed to be going in the second round. Also, you can trade for future picks, in the 2025 draft. I just would not necessarily go for 2026 picks unless you are certain the league will be around. Let's look into trades to make if you are a contender. So we can work off the idea sending away that draft capital, but there may be an instance where it is worth sending off a young proven asset like Tank Dell because he is on injured reserve. During the playoffs, it is the time to trade for running back help. From Ezekiel Elliott to Austin Eckler, mentioned above, to even Chuba Hubbard. And speaking of him, I would look to trade for him as a contender. He has back-to-back weeks having over 20 carries and 25 total touches. So let's look at some recent trades involving him. 2024 second, and this happened multiple times. Unfortunately, there were only a handful amount of trades over recent weeks to gauge a true value on him, so it may be your second round pick would be it. The future is uncertain, and a league mate may be willing to part ways. Hubbard, he will have a tough matchup here against Atlanta in week 15, but week 16 and week 17 will bring favorable matchups. Additionally, you can trade for those running backs mentioned above, like AJ Dillon and Ezekiel Elliott. It is always cool if you can get back a dart throw too, like a third round, fourth round pick, kind of like that trade above. I do understand any hesitancy on doing this. Like, oh no, I don't want to trade my second round pick. I could just go ahead and use that to get a stud in the rookie draft. Just let the chips go. Yeah, or, you know, you can always go for that championship. You don't always have this chance. You don't always also win. You may make a trade and not win, but at least you tried. And swinging for those fences and trying is what we do in Dynasty, or at least should. You can always make trades in Dynasty after this, but going for the championship is what is best. Now, if you do want wide receiver help, it might seem obvious to trade for those aging assets. Just make sure they have a favorable fantasy playoff matchup. I did mention Lockett, just a few weeks back as a good buy here, as he does have those favorable matchups. I don't want this to be viewed lazy to mention him again, but this is the formula we should be looking at: an aging asset with a good playoff matchup. Looking at Philadelphia, they have the third best matchups for wide receivers in the fantasy playoffs, but no one's going to be selling A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith cheap. New Orleans, they have the fourth best matchup, but no one's going to sell Chris Olave cheap. But you could send an offer out for Michael Thomas, who is reportedly expected back this year. There is risk here, obviously, because will he come back? I mean, it's the playoffs this week. However, there was a recent trade where someone sent only a 2025 third round pick. That is well worth the risk. If he does come back and hits, you may have found your championship league winner. And as mentioned, it is also feasible to send a young player who just may be on injured reserve for that remainder of the seasons, like Tank Dell. Just make sure you are getting back an asset who will also be playing for you next season. Dell, he has proven himself as a rookie. Looking at some trades, someone traded Dell for Derrick Henry, but I would rather use my second, like the above in the aforementioned running back trades, before having to let Dell go. However, maybe Michael Pittman and working in like a second maybe or some dart throws, that may be worth it to try and win. Again, you may make moves, push those chips in, and you may end up not winning the championship. This is just the game we play. I would rather try and win than just to let it ride and see what happens. Similar to the NFL, your championship bubble may just come and go. So go for it while you can. Thank you for watching today's Dynasty Trade video. If you did enjoy the content, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. Don't forget, check out our weekly content, and I will catch you back next week for another trade video.